Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I'm adjusting my mic here. Welcome to a late night session of Bitcoin and crypto news. I am George. Of course, I'm having a special late night session because Bitcoin pump. Bitcoin has been slowly rising. And now we have a good pump over 10% today. And it even smashed through 13,000. So where does it go ahead? Is it go ahead to 14,000? Is it go to 15? Is it going to be 20,000? Or is it coming back down? Let's discuss. Let's have a good overall chat. Of course, since it's a late night session, anything goes. I have my drink. I am drinking Bud Light Lime today. And I have another Heineken right afterwards. So we'll see where this session goes. But welcome, guys. Thanks for tuning in. As always, smash up the like, subscribe to the channel, and let's do this. Let's talk about Bitcoin. It's the name of the game right now, right? The last video I created was about the video before that I created about Bitcoin. For this past 2 weeks, Aaron, thank you for that. Appreciate it. For the past few weeks, we have seen it, right? We have seen basically alts get decimated and Bitcoin is just gaining strength. And it's been gaining. And all these stories, all these articles, all the news reports that, and even rumors that I've been talking about for the last few years, they're all finally coming to. They're all adding up in a big way. And today, possibly the biggest announcement was made. It's pretty significant. So let's just get to it, right? Let's get to it because it's pretty big deal. I know most of you guys watching already know what news I'm gonna bring up, but this was years in the making. Rumors have been swirling about this for a long time. Even people that have told me, hey, I hear from insiders, people who work inside, they've been accumulating Bitcoin. And who are they? PayPal. Basically the biggest player in town in terms of money transaction. What do you call them? Money transaction business. They handle pretty much every single transaction you can think of. You know, wire transfers, bank transfers, ACH transfers, credit cards, right? Buying and selling. Pretty much if you're buying and selling, Jake, thank you. If you're buying or selling anything online, pretty much you have used PayPal before, you have an account already. I'm not saying they are a nice entity. They're necessarily evil, okay? Necessary evil because, you know, it's just so easy, okay? It's just so easy to use PayPal. So they're everywhere. Of course, they started with eBay. Now they kind of just, you know, spun themselves off, right? And they're doing very, very well. And the rumors have been swirling that PayPal wants to get into Bitcoin. They've been hoarding Bitcoin secretly to prepare for this day. And now it has come. Now it's finally popular to be discussing Bitcoin and to be investing in Bitcoin, to be holding Bitcoin, right? You know, 2 years ago, if any of these companies discussed Bitcoin, it was so taboo that, you know, Wall Street would get fearful and sell off their stock. That's no longer the case. When these companies talk about Bitcoin, their stock goes up. People actually cheer them because not only is it a thing, really, because a lot of Wall Street, a lot of financial people, they're worried about what's going on with the economy, right? That's really the reason. But PayPal stock shot up today. Anyways, enough rambling about PayPal. But the thing is, they're coming out with their own wallet. They're allowing Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a few other cryptos for trading pretty soon. Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and Litecoin. So these four will be, you'll be able to buy and trade and sell, buy, trade, and sell. And I should add in, you're also able to use them. So the thing is, they're not just coming out of wallet. They're not just coming out of the exchange. They're actually going to integrate so that any business out there, any business that accepts PayPal, right, will be able to accept Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and Litecoin. That is enormous. Think about how many businesses out there that take PayPal, right? Well, I guess you don't have to guess it right here. 26 million merchants worldwide. So basically overnight, of course they didn't fully transition yet, but pretty much basically overnight, 26 million merchants can now accept Bitcoin. How's that for adoption and usage, right? And publicity. This is huge. This is enormous. I've been talking about how Square, I believe Square one day will do the same thing. There's a lot of small businesses that use Square, their dongles, for their credit cards and stuff like that. I'm waiting for them to make the same announcement. I think they will after PayPal announce this, but really it's kind of like a cat and mouse game, because I think why PayPal is going all gung-ho right now, specifically, besides what I just mentioned, is because they're looking at Square. Square has been allowing Bitcoin purchase for the last few years now, but it's not until this year where it really skyrocketed. In fact, Square reported over $1 billion in revenue from just Bitcoin trading from last quarter alone. That is crazy. So PayPal wants a piece of the pie. So now, Square kind of started this off, PayPal's following, and then now, I think after this, Square will follow in terms of allowing crypto transactions across all Square products pretty soon. I think it's just a matter of time. But anyways, yeah, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. If you think about it with Bitcoin, there's a few narratives, right? The newest narrative, the one that most people believe in right now, is basically Bitcoin is like a hedge, right? A hedge against inflation, hedge against devaluation of the fiat, hedge against shenanigans of the banks and the central banks and so forth, right? So that's one. Another one is, Bitcoin becoming a digital currency, right? This is something that Jack Dorsey believes in, and some others, that we need to evolve to something better, right? To something digital, because everything is digital, but we're still transacting everything in fiat. So this is another thing. This is another narrative, or another positive, I guess, thing for Bitcoin that a lot of us don't talk about, because simply we hold old Bitcoin, right? We're holding for life-changing wealth. But yeah, this is also very positive. So now you got like both narratives coming true, right? Usage and adoption, and also this notion of Bitcoin can be a hedge, and it can be held, right? It does have value, and all the naysayers, all the gold bugs, and everyone else, they really have nothing else to say anymore. I mean, there's really nothing else to say. Anyways, I said a lot there. I rambled on for I don't know how long that was. It was probably like 30 minutes already. But there's just I have the feeling again, right? From my streams, you could tell I have this feeling again about Bitcoin. This is the time. This is really the time. Bitcoin, I believe, is ready. It's finally ready to move up. For the last few years, we had some wild rides up and down. And let's bring up the chart. Let's look at some of those wild rides, right? Obviously, from 20,000 down, from here, 6,000 down to 3,000, that was wild, right? We had that. That was not fun. And then we held there for a very, very, very long time. And then we had a very wild ride to 14,000. That came really quickly, all right? Then we had a wild ride where a lot of up and downs here, right? Going from 14,000 all the way down to about 6,000. Then another wild ride up to 10,000. Then a really wild ride down to 3,800. But guess what? Bitcoin just came right back up. Almost like a V-shaped recovery, right? Like what a lot of economists are predicting our broader market to be, a V-shaped recovery. And yeah, and then we had a few stable months, and now we're ready. So if you look at a grand scheme of things, what we've experienced today and for the last few weeks, last few months, this is nothing, right? This is nothing compared to like this or this. But the thing is, right, this could be the start of it. And if we experience something like this, where we're going from like 3,800 all the way to 10,000, 3x. What does that mean? If we started from here, right around 12,000, and you do 3x, where does that put Bitcoin? That puts Bitcoin at $36,000, right? That's like all the way up here, right? Can that happen? Yeah, it definitely can happen. So this is definitely the start, I believe, and it's definitely exciting. Now, can it reverse? Sure, it can, but I just don't see any reason why it would now. There's like zero reasons, absolutely zero reasons, unless the only thing I can think of is if the broader market just crashes. Like after elections, starting the new year, somehow the broader market crashes down, Dow crashes 10,000 points, 15,000 points, maybe then now have effect, but who knows? Maybe then more people will put their money into Bitcoin because they're done with the shenanigans of, the endless stimuluses that the governments are doing with their endless printing. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen after that? So, Helios, I think that's how you pronounce it. Do you think best bets are BTC and Ether now that PayPal will have both of them, also all public companies? Best bets is Bitcoin by far. Okay, you don't hear about companies saying I'm going to be buying Ethereum. No, they're buying Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still the big dog, the top dog, and the best bet is Bitcoin. I know there's brief periods where Ethereum seems to be outperforming Bitcoin by a ton, but you just zoom out a little bit, look at the performance over the last few years, right? And you'll see that Bitcoin outperforms Ethereum by a ton, and it's always the case. So Bitcoin is definitely the best bet right now. So let's look at something that I haven't looked at for a long time. And I haven't looked at this because we were kind of off base, but now we seem like we're right back on track, okay? So I'm zooming out here. I'm just going to close these because these are not relevant for this chart right here. All right. Let's go to week. So this is the last 4-year cycle and the current 4-year cycle and where we are now, right? Basically, I drew these lines probably 6 months ago, beginning of the year. I haven't really touched it, right? So I put all these, all these comparisons up here to kind of compare our current 4-year cycle versus the previous 4-year cycle and what may happen. So if you look at the last cycle, and I'm talking about the cycle leading up to 2017, 2018, right? The crazy parabolic run that most of us experienced. You can see that when Bitcoin topped out around 2013, 2014, right? It hit about $1,200. It took roughly about 134 days before it reached the same level and broke above it and then went on a parabolic rise. So for 134 days, it was down, and then it started climbing, right? And then the halving event, because there was a halving event during that year, and it was somewhere around here, okay? So after the halving event, that's when Bitcoin started rising. It still didn't reach its previous high, but it started slowly rising, and guess what? It finally did reach that point, and that was in 2017. And then afterwards, this is what happened. There was still a lot of up and downs, no doubt. But Bitcoin, from that point, from that 1,200 point, it went up about 1,500% to roughly $20,000. Okay, and that was in a span of 1 year. Okay, that was the last year of the 4-year cycle. So you look at the current 4-year cycle from our 20,000, right? And then if you extrapolate and you go, the bottom was about 84% down. And if you compare that to the previous 4-year, the bottom was 86% down. So that was actually pretty close, pretty identical. Now, this 134 days, right? We're looking at right now, this is a little bit longer. We're We're roughly, we haven't reached there yet, but I'm breaking this a little bit. I don't really want to break it, but I'm going to move it here. So where we are now is about 150 days in. So a little bit longer than 134 days, but not that much longer, right? So if you expand this to the end of the year, about 160 days. So there's not that much time left. Roughly, that should be when Bitcoin gets back to its previous high. And that's 20,000, right? Because that would align with the last 4-year cycle. And it came right at, basically at the end of the year leading to the new year, to 2017 at that time. And we're right there. We're leading into 2021, right? And you could see, this is pretty much when I drew these arrows. So I haven't adjusted these arrows at all. And this is back then, back in January, basically, the way we were recovering up, I was like, okay, we'll probably end up here in May, right before the halving event or after the halving event. And then we'll probably do something like this where we slowly go back to our previous high of 20,000 by the end of the year. And then if we have the same 1,500% rise, this is what's going to happen, okay? And that means Bitcoin will go from 20,000 to 300,000 approximately. 300,000, $299,497, $494. So of course, when I drew this out, I did not know that it was going to drop to 3,800, which it did, right? And then that kind of broke it. We're like, okay, that doesn't look like it's going to reach back up, right? Especially by halving event, which it didn't. But look at it. It just kept crawling and crawling and crawling. And the way Bitcoin is moving now, you know what? It could end up here by the end of the year. I mean, we still have a month and a half. The way Bitcoin is climbing, it could definitely reach back up here. And then we're right on track. Exactly 100% right on track, basically, versus the previous 4-year cycle. And then what happens afterwards? 2021, if we see this kind of growth, man, Bitcoin is going to be unattainable afterwards. Bitcoin will be at $300,000. And okay, I know what you're saying. Well, Bitcoin's a lot higher these days. Is it really going to go up to 1,500%? Well, maybe not. Okay, well, let's just devil's advocate. Let's just say it goes up 500%. Not even 1,500%. That would put Bitcoin at 100,000. Okay, is anyone going to complain that Bitcoin goes to 100,000? No. No one's going to complain about that, right? And you have guys like Tim Draper that thinks that Bitcoin will go up to 250,000, not even 100,000. He's at 250,000, right? So whatever the case, if it's 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, it's going to be a lot higher than where it is now. But I'm just using the last 4-year cycle as, as a guide, right? And so far, even though we're off a little bit, but so far it's been pretty accurate. It's been pretty accurate. And with everything else going on, we have seen a lot of models like the stock to flow model, right? That shows we're on track. Now you got everyone embracing Bitcoin. You got PayPal, Square. You have all these publicly traded companies now that's getting involved, like MicroStrategy that just purchased $425 million worth of Bitcoin out of nowhere. $500 million worth of Bitcoin out of nowhere. Like how does that happen? Well, it happened and it's happening now. Everything is aligning up, right? And something else I haven't mentioned and I see people talk about is that maybe because of what's going on with BitMEX, that is why volatility has disappeared. That could play a part. We know BitMEX with their famous 100x, their 100x leverage, right? And people get liquidated all the time. Michael, thank you. Thank you for that. And Jake, thank you again. How's it? It feels really good. So, I mean, BitMEX could have a part in it. Besides the fact that Grayscale is buying left and right, they bought 17,000 Bitcoins within the last week. I mean, it's ridiculous how much Grayscale is buying up. Let's just take a look. Square 50, here we go. Grayscale adds $1 billion to crypto products in Q3. Here's one. Grayscale investment scooped up 17,000 Bitcoins in the last 7 days. I'm not even talking about a quarter. Grayscale picked up 17,000 Bitcoins in the last week alone. And this was a few weeks ago. No, actually, this was a month ago. So who knows how much else they're buying, right? So the reason why Bitcoin is so steady and just continues to inch higher and higher and higher is because, I mean, the bears that are selling or trying to drive things down, it's just not working because every single company and every big player is buying up every single Bitcoin they can. It doesn't matter if they're buying an OTC, because OTC dries up, guess what happens? They're going to be pulling from the exchanges. So that's the thing. And if you add to the fact that BitMEX can't pull their shenanigans anymore because they're under investigation, and Arthur Hayes and buddies can be facing 5 to 10 years of jail time, that could be another reason why Bitcoin has been so steady. Maybe this whole time Bitcoin has been held down because of the shenanigans from BitMEX and all these other exchanges. Who knows? We know Bitfinex also has their thing, right? Bitfinex is being looked at least in part because of Tether. They're looked at by the New York Financial District, and I think that case is still ongoing. So who knows? Maybe both of these exchanges, now they have to play by the rules. Maybe that's the reason why, right? So, yeah. Justin, I think I'm probably the only one that says shenanigans. Is PayPal going to buy Bitcoin also to keep in reserve? It has to. It's been buying. They've been buying Bitcoin. You know, I shared this probably a year ago, and, you know, you can't really, you don't know if it's real or not, but I had someone tell me, hey, George, I have a good friend who works inside PayPal, and they've been secretly buying Bitcoin and hoarding it, right? So when I first heard this, I'm like, okay, you know, they must be preparing for something. But this was like over a year ago. I do believe that they have been buying, right? In order for them to be an exchange, they have to have what they're selling on hand. And who knows? Maybe they have been accumulating for the past 3 years, right? Or maybe they just started to pick up some now. Or maybe they will pick up, right? Regardless, they have to have something on hand because they can't offer the service without anything. So I think, yeah, I think they do have to do that. I'm drinking Bud Light Lime. It's actually pretty good. It's pretty good. Jake, I didn't answer your question. How does it feel to be part of another bull run? It's definitely refreshing. All right. I think after all this, right, we're all a little bit more educated, maybe a little bit more, what do you call it? Less naive, a little bit more pessimistic about any kind of runs. And I'm sure, yeah, that's just like us being hardened, right, by the market, right? When newcomers, like Dave Portnoy, they're not used to it. They can't handle it, right? And I'm not saying it's easy. There are still days I look at my portfolio, I'm like, why am I holding so much alts? It's just killing me, and I get really depressed about it. But yeah, I mean, I think through it all, right, we have survived. I'm sure a lot of us, including myself, have made a ton of mistakes, right? But we've lived through it. And it's nice to see that finally something real is happening and it's going to carry Bitcoin much higher, right? Now, a lot of altcoins will probably be carried as well. But right now, the name of the game is Bitcoin. And look at BTC dominance. Yesterday I created a video for my Patreon and Insider group. And when I recorded a video, the BTC dominance was at like 60.3, right? So BTC dominance has been climbing from 53% to 57, 58, hovered around 58 for a while, climbed to 60%, and now look at it. It's at 61.2%. So yes, on a day like today, right, you can argue, oh, I'm making money. Ethereum is up 4%. Litecoin is up 9%. I'm making money, right? But you're losing against BTC, and then if that's the case, then you're doing it wrong, right? You rather just hold BTC. So Bitcoin is definitely sucking out the liquidity right now from all the alts, and we have seen this time and time again. Usually, people don't want to listen to that because a lot of people hold a lot of alts, right? But during these kind of climbs like this, right? BTC shoots up and everything drains out. But the good thing is, usually when BTC kind of stops and stalls a little bit, then the money kind of flows out. But we'll see. If this is the beginning of the bull run going to the end of this year and moving to 2021, where it's basically just, like this, man, Bitcoin dominance is going to go way, way, way back up into the 70s, possibly 80s. We'll see. What coins are you bullish on? Right now, I've said this in my last stream. I still hold a lot of alts, but there's days or weeks or months that I wish I didn't hold so much. Right now, my main strategy is to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible. I know I've been saying that for the last 3 years, but before I made a lot of mistakes. Try to always I get a little bit too bullish when things are going up. I get too little bearish when things go down. I've tried to outsmart the market. And through all that nonsense, I think I cost myself more or lost more by trying to do that. So now I had enough of it. I'm just going to be dollar cost averaging Bitcoin as much as possible. Every time I get a paycheck, right? Like right now, I get a big fat check from YouTube every month, right? Every time I get a paycheck, whatever I have left over, I'm going to declare a set amount to buy Bitcoin. That's it. I don't care if next month Bitcoin is back down to 6,000. It would be a gift if that happened, okay? But I don't think that's going to happen. I'm just going to set myself to have a schedule and just buy Bitcoin, buy as much as possible. I've been saying this for years. Once Bitcoin gets back up to 20,000 and goes beyond 30, 40, 50, 100,000, it is no longer cheap. It is no longer attainable by the average person. Okay? Right now, you may be striving to get one Bitcoin, or maybe you have one, or 5, or 10, or 20. Right? You might be a Bitcoin whale right now, right? But things are still somewhat affordable because Bitcoin has been floating up and down between 3,000, 10,000 now, close to 13,000, right? But think about it. When Bitcoin is at 50,000 or 100,000, it's going to cost you $10,000 to only buy 0.1 Bitcoin when it's at 100,000, right? Same thing. If it's 50,000, it's going to cost you $5,000 just to buy 0.1 Bitcoin, right? So even though Bitcoin's at 13,000 and I don't care if it falls to 10,000 tomorrow, I still think this is the time to be accumulating as much as possible, because once it really takes off, it's too late. It's just too hard to accumulate anything afterwards, right? It's one of those things, it's kind of like real estate, right? People who bought real estate really early because they were still plentiful and cheap, yeah, they got a bargain, right? But now, if you try to buy real estate, especially in the hot areas, you can never get it at the price that it was before, right? That's the same thing with Bitcoin. Once it becomes basically unattainable for most people, it's going to stay up there. It's never going to drop back down to a reasonable price anymore. So right now, I guess my point is I'm going to set a schedule and I'm going to buy as much Bitcoin as possible. Now, will I buy other things like alts along the way? Possibly dollar cost average a little more into alts as Bitcoin is coming up. But right now, I'm solely really concentrating on Bitcoin at this point because I don't want to miss this. I don't want to miss it while it's still attainable, because later on, I really feel like, you know, if I'm still streaming, hopefully on this channel, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, I'm gonna be showing this chart, and we're gonna be at $127,000, and it's gonna be very difficult for me to tell people then to buy a little bit of Bitcoin, because that little bit will cost them tens of thousands of dollars, right? It's gonna be a very different story then. Bitcoin will always crash, always has, always will. Well, with that kind of mentality, that's like saying everyone will die. Yeah, of course it's going to die. But yeah, Bitcoin always crashes. But where did it crash to? Where is it now? It's still at 13,000 now. Is it at 1,000? Is it at $200? Is it at $5 or $1? No, it's not. It's at 13, right? Or close to 13. It was. It's at $12,760. So, so what's the argument? It's like Peter Schiff, you know, who's actually being investigated because of money laundering with his bank. I didn't know. First of all, I didn't know he had a bank in Puerto Rico, but I'm guessing he thought because he's in Puerto Rico, he's somewhat protected and he doesn't have to pay taxes. So there's a couple things he's facing: tax evasion. And wait, actually, he's not facing the money laundering. I'm sorry, that's BitMEX. No, he's facing tax evasion for himself and for his clients. Like, he's helping pull clients' money in and then helping them avoid paying taxes. So he's being investigated for it. But I mean, he has the same argument. He's like, oh, look at this, Bitcoin is still not back up to its previous high. It's like, okay, So you just ignore the fact that it's been climbing, and it's breaking through these previous highs. And once it breaks above 20,000, then what do you say? Oh, it might crash again? Well, so does everything else. What about gold? Gold has been down for the last 11 years. And he predicted gold to be at 5,000 back in 2008, 2009. And it didn't get to 5,000, but somehow he just like pushed that under the rug. Oh, I didn't say such things. You look at interviews, he was telling people that gold was going to be at 5,000, but it didn't happen. So how can you make the argument that, oh, Bitcoin won't go up? He's been saying that for gold for decades, and no one's crucifying from that. I had no idea his dad was in jail and died in jail. It's just like that Dan Brazilian. I don't know if you guys know him, the king of Instagram. Like, he rented like a $50 million mansion. He has like party girls all the time around him and parties all over. And it turned out it's just all a scam. And he couldn't pay the rent on that mansion. And now he's being investigated because he has a publicly traded company. He has not reported earnings. And it turned out that he may have used a lot of money that his dad laundried or stole, and his dad like escaped the U.S. to some country that can't be extradited back. So kind of funny. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. He's labeled like the king of Instagram. No, I'm trying to take it easy with the hardcore stuff. Just sticking with beer today. Just sticking with beer. I have a lot of graded Zions. I'm very fearful of Zion. He better be in shape next year, man. If he comes back next year even bigger than he is now, I think his career is done. Like, if he's making millions now, and the Pelicans, you know, have a personal trainer on him and probably a personal chef on him 24/7, and if he still can't get into shape and he still gains weight, I think his career is over. So he better look like he's 20 pounds less next year when he comes back in the NBA, because when he came back after the bubble, he just looked like he was bigger and more out of shape. So bad. Cards have moved higher in Bitcoin, that's for sure. That's why I got into cards too. So my 3 investments right now: traditional stocks, and then also basketball cards and crypto, right? Basketball cards went really hot, so hot, so hot. Now it cooled off, it kind of leveled off, but we'll see. I think next season's go bring in more hotness. Basketball cards is like, it's like the new form of art collecting now. It really is, but still, it's very, 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 very niche. Not a lot of people is interested in getting in it, so it's hard because I tried to start a channel with my friend about basketball cards. I kind of had to step away for a little bit, maybe forever, but we'll see. He's still running it, but man, there's just no one searching for anything. You make a topic about LeBron rookie cards or something, and no one's searching for it. It's really tough to start a channel on something that's so niche. Jizzy, he doesn't have to be slim. He just needs to be slimmer than he is now. Look at LeBron. LeBron is a big dude. He's a big dude, okay? 6'9", probably 250, 260. That's plenty big to bully people. You don't need to be 6'6" like Zion and be like 310 pounds. No, you don't. That's not sustainable. Not with the NBA today. You got to do a lot of running, jumping. He's playing at like Shaq's weight when he entered the league. When Shaq entered the league, 7'1" at 310, right? And Zion is playing at that weight at 6'6". It won't work. He could lose 20 pounds, still get down to maybe 280, 270, still be a big boy, just not as big as he is now. Zach, I have. Claudio, who usually joins. Hey, Altcoin Daily. Hey, guys. Top Shot by them, endorsed by NBA. I don't like it. You're buying like, I don't even know what you're buying. You're buying like digital plays from the season. And you're not the only one that owns it. It's like, I just don't really get it. If you bought, like, let's say a play and you could license it, that's a different story. But you're just buying like a play. I don't like it at all. But anyways, a little bit off topic here. What's going on, guys? Mitchell, I don't like... I haven't talked about DeFi for a while. I'm going to bring it up. Here's the thing. I think I got fooled. So I created, those of you guys that paid attention, I created this locked-in value versus the market price, right? I labeled it the LM ratio. So I kind of went off like stocks with a PE ratio. So I created LM ratio. And, I was looking at, how much, let's say, Uniswap or Curve or Avi had locked in versus their market cap. And for a point, it worked. And then it really didn't. So right now, DeFi is still, as a whole, DeFi is fine. As you can see, $12 billion locked in. I think DeFi as a whole is a good thing. Okay? Having DEXs taking away from centralized changes, that's a good thing. Okay? Having lending companies, even though it's dangerous, well, that's taking away from traditional banks. And that's a good thing, right? So I think DeFi serves a purpose. Also, the fact that, you could lock in, let's say you're not lending, you're not actually borrowing, but let's say you lock in your crypto, that also curbs volatility. That's a good thing, right? So DeFi as a whole is not a scam. What is a scam is yield farming, and too many people that got pulled into it, and because of it, there was just too much pumps going on, right? So there's way too much pumping going on, at least before with DeFi, and that bubble kind of bursts, right? All these companies, all of them have basically tanked in terms of value. But will I get back into DeFi? I think down the road. Right now, I hold very, very, very little in Uniswap because they are the biggest name in the game right now in terms of dexes, and I don't think they're gonna go away anytime soon. But I kind of got fooled for a while with DeFi. I was watching it go up and up and up and up, right? I was trying to apply the ratio to it and looking at, at the time I was looking at, like Curve is a really good bargain because the ratio was so high. And I looked at some other ones at the time, even Sushi, I was looking at it, right? But then everything, the bottom just fell out. It was just like crashed. Everything crashed. So yeah, kind of sucks. But anyways, going back to synthetics. So no, I'm not a fan of it. Not a fan of it. I threw one ETH at some trash called Kimchi and went to 0. Yeah, we have. Yeah, unfortunately. All right, but one thing I will say, and this is a surprise for me. I mentioned during one stream, right? So this is one of the only surprises out of one of my, I guess, investments within ICO. And I'm bringing them up because I think they're still a good project. So they are Arweave, okay? And most of you guys don't remember, but very early on when I started the channel, I covered this project in my insider program. Also, I believe I made a video about it. But back then, when they came out, they were called ArcChain. Okay, so you may have invested in this ICO and you don't even remember. They used to be called ArcChain, and then they renamed themselves Arweave because they felt like their name was too close to A-Chain and other projects, whatever, right? But I forgot how much I invested in ICO. I think I invested like 1 ETH at the time, right? I think it was like $300. I forgot how much it was. But due to the bonus and whatever, over time, I only discovered that I held, throughout these years, I found a wallet that was holding it, and it's worth a lot of money now. So this is the only investment that actually paid off in terms of ICO. Everything else I invested has just gone down the shitter, unfortunately. But so yeah, I only bring it up because you guys are bringing up some of these projects. But anyways, Arweave, just to give a recap on them, and they have never changed their premise. They're about storing data permanently, about basically taking a snapshot of the web so that it can't be doctored or changed, right? Like the Internet Wayback Machine, they're working with them and actually storing a lot of web data. But also you could store anything, store data permanently, according to them, documents, applications, emails, whatever, right? So they've been working on this for a long time, and they have a really good community. It's open source, obviously. There's a lot of teams that's working on many things. So they have their web archive I mentioned, right? They're kind of storing the entire web. They have a FeedWeave, which is a blogging platform. This is created by someone else. They have Weave Mail, ownerless communities, explore the permaweb, yes. So this is one of the surprises, but I bring them up because they actually are doing well, right? They're still considered a small cap. At one point, they really shot up, but this is actually one of the good surprises. So, so you can actually make some money sometime. But right now, the name of the game is all these yield farming stuff, and they're all bad. They're all disastrous at this point. So you just got to be careful. $7K away from Vegas party. I think that's still true. Brian, thank you for that. I like to stream when it's exciting. It hasn't been exciting for a while, but it's exciting. When Vegas, man, I've always said it's time to go to Vegas when we hit 20,000. And I think that's still true, although I don't hold nearly as much Bitcoin as I did back in the day. And that's one of my biggest regrets. I had to sell some off. I don't regret taking some profit because I did live off of it for a long time. So I don't regret that. But man, I lost a lot of Bitcoin, like the value. like trying to swing trade, day trade, and lost it on alts. You know, there's a lot of stuff, man. I really regret it. Had I just held on to my Bitcoin, I'd be much better off than I am now. But anyways, I don't think that changes. I think once Bitcoin hits 20,000, it's going to be crazy. I think it really is going to be crazy. It's going to be the unknown, right? After 20,000, there's no charts, right? There's nothing up here. This is the unknown. So once Bitcoin surpasses 20,000, who knows? It goes to 40,000, 50,000 right away. It could happen. It's really the unknown at that point. Right now, everything, you know, all this stuff like previous supports or resistances, and you're looking at all these things, Fibonacci levels, whatever, right? They're all based on existing data. It's really go hard to chart anything after 20,000. So let's just stick with it. Let's just stick with Vegas at 20,000 and see what happens. The party probably won't be as big as I wanted it before because I wanted to hire Carlos Matos as the host. But I probably can't afford him, and probably most people don't even remember him anymore. And I forgot COVID is still around, so yeah, and things are getting worse with COVID, so it's probably not a good time either. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, with the pandemic right now, a lot of people think it's a hoax. You know, the timing is very particular, like right around elections, the count is going up, what's going on. But, and who knows, maybe the media is faking it. But with that said, you know, now I do know people that actually contracted it, that actually had really, really bad reactions, right? So you can't fake that. They weren't paid to fake it. So it is not a hoax. Maybe the number out there, or whatever, maybe whatever the media is spewing out is fabricated. But people that have really gotten it, it's no joke, right? It's no joke at all. So it's not a hoax from that standpoint. Do I have my Lambo? No, I never had. I never had a Lambo. I had a Ferrari, but I did sell it. I did sell it because I just never drove it. I never drove it at all. And I'd rather use that money for investments, which I have been doing. So Brian said he had COVID. Yeah, so not a hoax. Yeah, I've heard from many people that got it, had bad reactions, and it's not a hoax. So you think a big correction is coming in 24 hours? Well, the one thing I've been looking at for BTC is, obviously we're down a little bit, right? About 300 points down from the high. But this is what I'm looking at right now, right? So last time BTC broke out from, you know, just sideways movement, that's around July. So after it broke out from 99.40, it went up basically 20%. Actually went up a little bit higher, about 22%, right? And then you could see that after it hit that, it did come back down, right? But then stabilized and continued back up. But I'll just use this 12,000 mark as where it landed, right? So about 19%, 20%, right? Then we had a drop, and then now we've come back, right? But basically, this is a 20% from 99.40 all the way up to 11,913. So if you look at that same kind of jump from where we are now, so now we're breaking out of here, right? So if you go 20%, it's roughly, can't get this right there. It's roughly 14,353. So, can we see a correction like this? You see that big red candlestick? Can we possibly see something where it goes down, maybe even back down to 12,000 or maybe below, and then continue right back up and go to 14,300? I think that's a very high probability that's going to happen. I think it's mimicking like this right now. You can see this jump is very similar to this, right? So we can see a big red candlestick and then recover right back up and continue higher. And why is that 14 14 whatever, 14.3 important? Well, if you zoom out all the way back to May, that's roughly where Bitcoin stalled at, right? So let's zoom in here a little bit. So back in May, when Bitcoin topped out, no, actually back in June, Bitcoin topped out roughly around 14,000, right? So not as high as 14.3, but right around 14,000, right? And I'm trying to break it a couple times. So I do think that Bitcoin will get to 14,000, right? Based on these two things, 14,000 will be a pretty good resistance for it. And also climbing up 20% from our current level now. But will there be some sort of correction? I think so. It's natural. All these corrections are natural, right? And if you're dollar cost averaging, these corrections are a gift. So like I said, I'm going to put real emphasis on really dollar cost averaging as much as I can, because I want to accumulate as much Bitcoin while it's a reality, while it's a possibility, while it's still somewhat cheap, because it may not be. But okay, but just to show you, when can Bitcoin actually take a break? It could be right now. It could be right around the corner. So if you look at a day chart, RSI and stochastic RSI are both really, really high right now, right? So this could be a turning point. But whenever there's like real positive momentum, usually this goes out the window. So you can see right here, stochastic just basically topped out for a little bit, right? And RSI, even though it's high, it went higher. So right now, and I apologize if you hear the rain, it's raining really hard right now. So right now, even though RSI is high, it can definitely continue higher, right? So Bitcoin can still push up, maybe push up to 14,000 before it comes back down. If you look at 4 hour, Bitcoin is also very high for stochastic and for RSI. But what's not high is, first of all, me. And second of all, if you go to the weekly where it's a different story. So weekly does show that Bitcoin still has momentum. Stochastic is about halfway through, right? And RSI, even though it's coming to 70, it's not nearing these levels like 80s or 90s like these past few pumps, right? So the weekly definitely shows that Bitcoin has more momentum. So this could definitely carry Bitcoin to 14,000 or 14.3 like I said, right? But short term day and 4 hour shows that there could be a breather coming, right? On the 1 hour, you could see that it did top out and is already coming back down, right? So short term, there could be a breather, maybe a small little correction, but going forward, it's still very bullish. It's still moving up, right? And if you look at non-technical factors, macro factors, economic factors, adoption, all these things are pointing upwards, right? So short term, I guess it could do its thing, but it doesn't really matter. We're focused on the long term, right? And long term is looking very positive. Do I still recommend 50, 25, 25? I would say right now, like you said, Jordan, you're 75, 25. I think that's a better call. I think 75, 25 is better. Just stack up the sats with BTC. You're not going to go wrong with that. And 25% with alts. If alts do start pumping, it'll carry your portfolio. But I think 75, 25 is a better makeup. So I think you got that right. Am I watching Utopia on Amazon? No, I'm not. But I did get... Is it good? First of all, I'm assuming it's good because you're telling me that. I started watching Evil on Netflix. That's actually a pretty decent show. But I finished The Boys Season 2. Man, that is a good show. The Boys Season 2 is a good show. And that show is so gory. It is so gory, but it's such a good show. It kind of shows you the reality of things. And how you control someone like Superman, when he's invincible, there's still a way to control him. So, and it's not kryptonite. So they show a realistic view, a realistic way to control Superman. But anyways, The Boys is an awesome show if you guys haven't watched it. And Star Trek Discovery, I'm a big Star Trek guy. That just started up on CBS, so I'm starting watching that again. I don't know what else there is. If Congress approves stimulus, 13K break guaranteed. That's guaranteed already. That's guaranteed. We broke through it. We went to 13. What did we go to? 13.2 today? Not too long ago? Yeah, 13.2. That's coming back right around the corner. Like I said, short term because RSI and stochastic RSI are high. Maybe tomorrow, going into Friday the weekend, we may be going sideways or maybe going down a little bit, but it's gonna come right back up, right? It's gonna come right back up. Marco, I'm still around, but I haven't seen you around for a while. I never got into Orville. I never got into it. I don't know why. I always thought it was more like a, like a spoof show of Star Trek. But then I started reading reviews saying that it's actually a decent show. So that's why I never got into it, because I always thought it was just a spoof show. But maybe someday I'll get into it. I find Amazon shows just really sucks in general. Although The Expanse, someone forced me to watch Expanse. I forgot who recommended it. The Expanse started really, really slow, and then I got really into it. And I hear they're coming out the new season pretty soon. Bosch on Amazon is good too, if you like a detective show. But everything else, I really can't get into. All right, now I'm drinking Heineken. And not the light stuff either, because I ran out of Heineken Light. The Boys is a really good show. Why not accumulate as much LTC as possible? It's cheaper and faster than Bitcoin and 84 million. Think about it. What do you mean only 84 million? That's 4 times more than Bitcoin. So in reality, it could only be 1/4 as high as Bitcoin. And what does cheaper have anything to do with it? Dogecoin is cheaper, so why don't you buy Dogecoin? Dogecoin is also faster than LTC. There's a lot of things cheaper and faster than LTC, so why don't you buy them over Litecoin? That's not a good argument. First of all, no one is using Litecoin, and no one cares about Litecoin, so just those two things alone should make you not want to buy Litecoin over BTC. And also, you got to think, there is no development teams on Litecoin. It's a man of one. It's Charlie Lee. That's it. I covered this. Their internal foundation, internal leak came out. Their foundation manager came out and was frustrated with Charlie because he's spending money left and right doing marketing stuff and not developing Mimblewimble. So he basically dragged his feet for a whole year. So, and through that leak chat, it was discovered that Charlie Lee even recognizes no one wants to work on Litecoin because it's a very boring coin. And there's nothing going on. There's no development teams like Bitcoin or anyone else. It's a man of one. It's Charlie and Charlie. That's it. He does marketing and development, and he'll develop when he pleases. He already made his billions from Litecoin. He claims he has sold all his Litecoin, yet he still has Litecoin around to support his foundation and support these marketing initiatives. Where is this Litecoin coming from when he supposedly sold all of his Litecoins? It doesn't make any sense. Alan, are you talking about Waylon? I know Waylon was into Litecoin, and he bought a Litecoin ASIC miner, and by the time he got it, it was unprofitable to mine Litecoin. Silas says, if Charlie gets COVID and croaks, what happens then? Well, the project dies. That's what I warned my buddy about Tesla. Because Tesla, the only reason why it's evaluated so high is due to Elon, right? And he's a relatively young guy, I know that. But let's say he's testing a prototype of full self-driving or something, and it goes wrong, and he crashes and dies. Tesla will drop like 99% overnight. Like, seriously. Tesla is driven 100% by Elon. Whether or not he's doing development or engineering work or marketing, doesn't matter. He is the face of that company, and the only reason why Tesla is evaluated so high is because of him alone. And if he ever dies, man, that company is gone. He never told you? Yeah, this was like a year ago, 2 years ago. He bought a Litecoin ASIC miner, and he waited months, and by the time he got it, it was unprofitable to mine, so it's just been sitting there. This was a long time ago. What's your dream or goals in life? Is it family or business oriented? Right now, it's more business oriented, and I don't say that lightly, because I do realize my kids, they're still relatively young, but I am spending more time in front of the computer than I am with them, right? It's just they're at an age they're really annoying at times. But yeah, it's more business oriented, because I want to get to a point in my life where I could just basically relax and not have to hustle all the time. So I know what you guys know what I'm talking about, right? You attain that life-changing wealth, and then you can take it easy, right? You could do something that's a lot less stressful and just take it easy, enjoy life. Of course, that's the dream. Of course, that's where I want to get to, right? So in the meantime, still building my business, investing, right? Buying Bitcoin and holding, and hopefully it pays off. Glenn, that's a good question. When will Knowles get traction it deserves? Well, I know they're making a marketing push because they have contacted me and asked me if I was interested. I said yes, but they told me that basically they are going to go gung-ho on marketing. They've been developing for the past 3 years, and they are done. They got everything. They have interoperability. They have a DEX. They have Chain Factory, Chain Box. Knowles 2.0 is done. They're working on Knowles 3.0. They could scale. They have their new, SCO, a new way of staking. They got everything. They really do have everything. Just people aren't paying attention to it. So now they realize they got to market. So if they do their marketing well and they get good amount of traction, Knowles could definitely shoot off from here, because unfortunately it's just been selling off. Now it's at 24 cents. Back in 2017, it got as high as $8, I believe. So it's way, way, way off from its all-time highs. But hopefully they get some traction. So, yeah. So they didn't come back. I have no idea, John. Well, I do, because he's an idiot. That's why. I guess I'm living in his head rent-free, because I haven't thought about him for years. So I don't know what the deal is anymore. If any of you research XRP, especially recently, your portfolio will look more like 60-30-10. Brian, that's a good point. I do have some research on XRP. Hold on right here. I have a very important message from our friends, Siren Labs, about XRP. This is very, very important. And if you watch this, you may agree with Brian and move 60% of your portfolio into XRP.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.
Was that educational? Was that informative? Does it make you want to swap out 60% of your portfolio? Okay, let's go through with say hypothetically, let's say you could go on a date with one of those chicks. If you converted 60% of your portfolio into XRP, would you do it? Man, I wonder what happened to CERN Labs. Yeah, they haven't been doing well. No? Everyone said no? Come on now. Come on now. You guys are just not being truthful. I've always dissed on CERN. Like Moshe, he's just like, he's done a lot of shady things in the past. He bought his mansions due to CERN Labs ICO. I think they raised $100 million. They're coming out of the phone that no one will ever buy. And I've always said that. It just makes no sense to buy what they're selling. And they came up with commercials like that made absolutely no sense. Wasted marketing dollars. And now they are dead. What about Dentacoin? Hey, Dentacoin. This always made me laugh. Look at the total supply versus circulating supply. I've always said this. I'm like, Jesus Christ, right? Look at how much the team is holding. Total supply is 7.9 trillion, yet only 700 billion is released, right? So that means there's 7.2 trillion tokens being held by the team. I've always said this. Dentacoin is the biggest worthless altcoin out there. Yet at some point they were worth $2 billion. 2-point-something billion dollars. It's just ridiculous. Those dentists had very strong hands, that's for sure. Too much Bitcoin talk on billions. Then they stopped the season. Did they continue it back up? Because I did like it. But of course, again, the episodes where I saw they talk about Bitcoin was in a negative light, like to hide money and people, stealing electricity for Bitcoin mining. So they never really, all these shows, they don't paint Bitcoin or crypto in a positive light. It's always in a negative light, and that's unfortunate. Brian, real talk, okay? Real talk. I supported XRP and Ripple for a long time. And I still do think they serve a purpose. But if you look at the economics of XRP, it can never go up. It can't. It won't. So you gotta just face reality. XRP was created as a cross-border payment, kind of like a bridge currency. So if you want to swap between USD and Chinese yuan, you can using XRP. You could get rid of Nostro accounts, right? You don't have to have accounts across every country with their denomination, with their currency. You could use XRP. I get it. That works, right? But the only company truly using it is MoneyGram. And they're only using it because they're paid by Ripple to use it. Ripple not only owns like 30% of their shares, they also pay them millions of dollars every quarter to use it. They're the only ones using it right now. No one else is using XRP. And XRP can never go up in value because no one will ever hold XRP. It's not meant to be held. It's meant to be purchased and then sold, right? So with that logic, it'll never go up. And people used to argue, well, it'll go up because all the banks and everyone else will adopt it, right? They'll adopt it and there's not enough to go around and then it's going to go up. Well, you know what? The banks aren't adopting it. The banks are coming up with their own currency. That's why JP Morgan has a JP Morgan coin, and everyone else, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they're all coming up with their own coin to do the same thing, to get rid of Nostra accounts, but they're using a crypto that is controlled by them. So if you face reality and you actually really look at XRP, it'll never go up to where you want it to. It'll never go up to $589. That'll never happen. So that is why I'm not bullish on XRP. I'll just say I'm neutral on them. I'm not even negative on them, but I'm neutral on them because, you know what? I just don't think they're going to go up more than any other crypto out there, such as Bitcoin or even Ethereum or even Litecoin, which I don't like. But I think Litecoin will go up more than XRP. And that's reality. That's honestly the reality of it. So let's bring up, I mean, this is painful. I'll just bring out the Bittrex chart. Bittrex doesn't really go back far enough. Let's what's another better chart for XRP? Bitfinex, yeah. See, that's real pain right there. That's real pain. Basically, XRP has not recovered at all. And it's been really tough to hold XRP. Of course, you can make the argument, oh, Bitcoin didn't go back up to its previous high, right? But at least Bitcoin has recovered somewhat. XRP, all it has been doing is going lower, lower, lower. So recently it finally broke out of this wedge, right? So that's a positive thing. But then it just came right back down. So, yeah. So it's not like I like to hate XRP, although that commercial is damn funny. It's just that if you just look at the economics of it, it just can't go up. It's not built to go up. So that's the thing. I can't pull up BitConnect chart. Proc Jack, I appreciate a super chat, but then you retracted your message, so I don't know what you said. Bitcoin Cash isn't that bad. PayPal is in it as well. How would you convince your friend to buy Ethereum? I wouldn't. Why would I convince him to buy Ethereum? I'd convince him to try to buy Bitcoin, not Ethereum. T-Lock, that's true. A lot of people made all money in alts, and I appreciate it that you bring that up. If you didn't make money, great. But you know what? Alts lost me more money than anything. I'll just tell you that. It's had I just held on to my Bitcoin, man, I would have made a lot more. So I'm not blaming alts. It's my own fault. But and I still have a ton of alts, and a lot of projects are really good projects. I just mentioned alts is a good project. VChain, another one I support, is a very good project. Even Basic Attention Token, which I don't talk about anymore, but they're a very good project. And there's a lot of promising protocols out there, right? But they're more or less speculative still. They have no profits. They have no tractions. And you know what? The name of the game right now is still Bitcoin. So that's not going to change anytime soon. So that is why. Square or PayPal? Ming, just go both. I still like Square better. Because Jack Dorsey honestly believes in Bitcoin. He's a big Bitcoin bull. PayPal does not. And the previous CEO of PayPal came out and did an interview saying, oh, Bitcoin is a scam and stuff. I wonder if, what his stance is now. If he's going to diss the new CEO for his stance. Because I remember I remember that interview. The previous CEO of PayPal was interviewed and he said, Bitcoin's a Ponzi, it's a scam, blah, 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 blah. Maybe he's just saying it because maybe he's been trying to accumulate all this time. Who knows? Mark, I have no idea about Blockstack, so I don't know. Man, it is not my birthday, so I don't know what you're talking about. Nelson, I appreciate that. Sometimes people don't like to hear the truth, especially in crypto, especially when it comes to money. I get it. But sometimes you just gotta face reality. Let's look at BAT because I have not looked at BAT in a long time. Where's their Binance one? Here we go. Here we go. Man, BAT has just been so sideways. Obviously, this point was not good. But since 2018, they've been pretty much just moving sideways. Honestly, traction with BAT, I've read articles that traction with BAT is slow. People that get rewarded in BAT, they immediately sell it for Bitcoin. And overall, there's not that many people that's using Brave to get rewards. They're not opting in for the ads, right? So that's unfortunate. But BAT is a great project. I'm streaming with the Brave browser. It's a really good browser. The company is founded by the inventor of JavaScript and the inventor of Firefox. So, he knows how to run things, right? Come up with the browser at least. And his digital marketing, I think it's good. I think it's a good acquisition target, especially for someone like Microsoft or even Facebook. Facebook is not really into search, but if they wanted to get into search, they need a browser. They need something that really can complement their Facebook ads. And that's Brave, right? So Facebook and Microsoft, Microsoft Edge, it's horrible. Is this still called Edge? I forgot what it's called. I think it's still Edge. But recently just updated. But anyways, they're garbage. They just buy BAT, right? But I don't know if they can buy it because of the token structure, so I don't know. What's up with Libra? Any news? Nothing. Nothing at all. Facebook, Microsoft will ruin Brave. I would agree with Facebook, but I really like Microsoft. I've always supported Microsoft, but I really love the direction they're going. They're just embracing the web. They're going all cloud, all web like entities. I think buying LinkedIn was genius. And they may eventually buy Salesforce too, which would really complement things well. But Office, is dominating across all platforms. Windows still dominates Exchange Online for email. They're dominating that. Every enterprise out there is using Exchange. And same thing with Office. And the Windows servers. Windows and Windows servers. Even though Windows is not as strong as before, but still, Windows 10 is damn good. Do you ever hear Windows or Microsoft, trying to create Windows 11 or 12? No, there's no need because Windows 10 is that damn good. Windows 10's been out for years. It's that good. And Windows Server is still dominating enterprise space too. And SQL Server still dominates. Or Oracle, I guess, competes with them, but still. Microsoft is in a really good spot, and they have a good presence with the Xbox Live. They bought Minecraft, which is big. They're buying gaming companies. I mean, Microsoft is on top of the world. That is one stock that everyone should own. I can't comment on BlockFi. I can comment on Theta. I do think Theta is a good project. Theta is actually a really good project. I hold some Theta. Actually, they've been weak recently, so actually it could be a good time to pick them up. But looking at their daily, yeah, see, they kind of bottomed out in daily. They're looking like they want to turn up. Data is doing really good. For a long time, I kind of ignored them, but you could see, man, they went on a run from 3 cents to 65 cents. That's like more than 20x since April, right? They've been on a tear because they've been getting a lot of traction, especially in Asia. They're getting contracted with a lot of Asian companies to stream their TV shows on data on data, and also they got a patent for decentralized streaming. So I don't know what that means if they go sue other companies, but they got it for decentralized streaming. They got a patent for that, so they're doing really well. They're doing really well. QuantStamp is still around. Surprisingly, QuantStamp is still around. I still hear them audit, companies, although I don't know how good their audit is because a lot of companies they've audited before have vulnerabilities found afterwards. So I don't know how good their check is, but I forgot QuantStamp QSP. Yeah, they've fallen. They've become ultra low cap too. There's just nothing sexy about QuantStamp. I mean, that's the reality of it, right? It's like, yeah, you audit smart contracts. That's not something people get excited about. I did not watch The Social Dilemma. My mom did. She was telling me about it, but I didn't really pay attention, so. How much do I make off of YouTube? Quite a bit. Probably double. Probably double what I used to with my corporate career. I was a system analyst before I started YouTube. I actually got fired in 2017. That was perfect because I started CryptosRUs at that time. And that sent me off in a different path. And I can't be more thankful because of it. And I make double where I used to, so that's pretty good. Just agree with Hellcat Crypto. Just buy BTC. If you bought it 5 months ago, you would have made 9K. Just buy BTC. I mean, that is the name of the game, right? The thing you want to figure out is how do you stack more sats? How do you accumulate more Bitcoin at this point? And there's only a few ways to do it. Number one, you buy it. You just buy it. Number two is you try to buy alts that grow faster than Bitcoin, right? Because then you're gaining on Bitcoin. But the problem is, over an extended period of time, that never happens. A lot of alts just fizzle out. And then you end up losing sats because Bitcoin is stronger. And then you actually lose. And that's not a good thing too, right? And then there's leverage plays. And you go put down collateral and stuff. Those are just bad ideas. Those are bad ideas. So the name of the game, accumulate as much Bitcoin as you can. But I do think over the next few days leading to this weekend, possibly next week, I do think we could see a little bit of a downturn. And then right back up to about 14,000. And that'll be a true resistance. And we may be, once we hit it, we may be just like kind of hovering here, sideways here a little bit. Kind of like this. Like once we hit it, we kind of go sideways for a while. That could be, once we hit 14,000, it could be like that. But we're getting close to the end of the year, so who knows? We could hit 14,000 and go straight up to 20,000 afterwards. Here's the thing. After you break 14,000, there's really nothing left, in terms of resistances. So, I mean, look at it, right? 14,000 here. Very, very brief here, right? But after that, it's just open space. So I guess the next point would be about 16,002 right here. And then it's 20,000. So, I mean, after it breaks 14,000, it could move very fast. There's no real true resistance there, you know, after 14,000 because Bitcoin wasn't hovering there for a long time. So after 14,000, it could be like pushing 20,000 right away. Tech boy, you have to rewind. I've said a lot about DeFi, so you have to move forward. XRP is an interoperable coin, allowing all those bank coins to exchange. It's a bridge currency. When millions are exchanged, higher price is required. Yes, the key thing that you just said, when millions are exchanged, no, millions won't do it. You need billions to do it. When billions are exchanged and there's not enough XRP, that is when the price goes up. But it's nowhere close to that. And I don't think it will ever get to there. I just don't. Trust me, I know. Trust me, I know. I know everything there is about XRP and Ripple. I know the premise. I know how it works. I support it for a long time. And then one day, I really thought about it. I'm like, the economics of it just doesn't work. It's not going to go up. There's just not enough companies that are using it enough to cause it to go up. There just isn't. It's nowhere close. Nowhere close. Unfortunately on this channel, you know, I lost the favor of the YouTube algorithm. So I know there's a lot of you guys supporters, and I appreciate you guys supporting me all these years. But right now, it's a grind, man. Like my videos on YouTube for CryptosRUs, you know, getting 2K is a good video. You know, I hardly get above 2K. Before, back in the heyday, you know, $20, $30,000, no problem. But, you know, these other channels like Altcoin Daily, The Moon, whatever else there is, you know, they average like 30, 40, 50,000 every video. They have the favor of the algorithm. The algorithm really pushes their videos. So good for them, but it kind of sucks. From a video creation standpoint, it really sucks when I spend a ton of time coming out with a good video. At least I think it's a good video. And it only gets 2,000 views. It's really not much. When you look at 2,000 views, I don't know how much I make from that, like $20 or something. I'm spending like 3 hours worth of time to make $20. It's really not worth it. But not complaining. But that's one of the things about YouTube. It's the easiest thing to do. Everyone can start a YouTube channel, but it's the hardest thing to do in terms of gaining that favor of the algorithm. And it's a reality. You know, no one will admit it. Everyone will just say, oh, you know, you keep posting and posting and posting, and you know, you just go draw the viewers and you just go grow. No, you really have to gain the favor of the algorithm. And once you do and you try to keep it, then you'll be good. Because I know I have the favor with my drivers only channel, and that one is growing really well. So it's a real thing. I don't know about Swipe, so can't really talk about it. Why would the IMF choose to use XRP as a reserve currency? That's just wishful thinking. Like, not even I would say the IMF would think about replacing fiat or USD or gold with Bitcoin. It's just not going to happen. It's just, you got to face reality. There is nobody on earth, okay? No financial body on earth that will replace currency with XRP. None. No one would do that. Especially when XRP is like 60% controlled by Ripple. It's just not going to happen. Jerry, I guess, well, at least you have half of it right. So you got half right. You know, that's a good thing about, I mean, that's a good point about BNB. I don't know why does Brad Garlinghouse hang out with IMF members? Because he's trying to bribe them. He's trying to pay them millions in XRP. Probably. You know, I don't hear anything about Binance Chain anymore. When Binance Chain came out, every project was saying, oh, well, I'm going to switch to Binance Chain. And they would get a good pump because they would get listed on Binance. But now I don't hear anyone talking about moving to Binance Chain. I actually don't know what Binance Chain is used for. Maybe besides the Binance DEX, but no one uses the Binance DEX anyways. So I don't know what the Binance Chain is actually used for at all. So maybe some of you guys can answer that. Bitcoin Cash is not go pump for PayPal. If it was go pump, it would have pumped already. Okay, I'm wrong. I guess some people do use Binance DEX. So, sorry about that. What about Ravane? I haven't checked Ravane in a long time. I know they're in loyalty cards. You know, for a long time, the market supply, circuit supply for Ravane was wrong on CMC. And I don't know if they ever changed that. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about Ravane. No, you're talking about Ravencoin. Ravencoin is kind of like, it's like Bitcoin turned into Ethereum. Like, that's the best way to put it. I guess they're trying to build like smart contract capability and dApps on top of Bitcoin. Although I'll admit I haven't tracked them for a long time, but yeah, I don't know about like this. Max supply versus circuit supply. I guess it's not total supplies. So it can get up to that point. But I haven't kept track of Ravencoin in a long time. So who knows what's going on. Oh, I forgot about that too. Yeah, and they can digitize items too. So Ravane lied about their circulation as a dead coin. Yeah, I remember, you know, they posted in their blog that the circuit supply or total supply was wrong, and it was always listed wrong on CMC. But look at them; they're still worth 121 million. So I don't know if it's because CMC just didn't update it or what. I don't know. See, look, circulating supply and the reported circulating supply. You know, so they're actually 3x more than what the circulating supply is. I don't know. They just kind of screwed that up. In your view, which crypto is best suited to be the bridge currency to make the internet value and all things that are operable consider speed? I don't think there needs to be a digital currency to do that. I take that back. That was a stupid statement. No, there will be a bridge currency. But you know what it's going to be? It's going to be the digital dollar or the digital yen. It's going to be a digital version of fiat. It's not going to be a crypto, especially like XRP, because it's 60% controlled by a company. It's not going to be XRP. I know you're asking that because you're trying to lead me on to say it's XRP or something, but it's not. It's not going to be XRP. Get that through your head. But most likely it's going to be like a digital dollar, digital yen, something that's a digital fiat version. I don't even think BTC will ever become that digital currency because I just don't think governments will allow that to happen. Who knows? Maybe it will happen. But if there's something that's not like a digital dollar, then BTC is best suited for that. But I just don't think that's going to happen. I think the governments of the world will try to still want control. So they're going to want to utilize something like the digital dollar. Use a VPN to beat YouTube's algorithm. What do you mean by that? It still knows my channel. It's not like it's detecting where I am. The VPN won't help with that. It's just that, you know, the algorithm probably every 6 months or a year, it'll look at certain things and make determinations, right? Like how much traction you have, how many people, retention time, watch time, click-through rate, all these things that YouTube looks at. So maybe it determined that, you know, my channel, you know, throughout crypto winter and stuff started not getting many views or clicks or whatever. So it's determined that my channel should get X amount of views. Like it just doesn't broadcast as much as before, right? Because YouTube, they try to be smart about it. You know, they try to optimize videos that people want to see. So they'll distribute the videos that they deem more popular. Whether or not it's a fair system, I don't know, but it's really hard. It's really hard to get in the favor of the algorithm, and any YouTube creator will tell you that. It's like you either have it or you don't. So it's tough. I'm in Shanghai after arrival from London. 14 days in a room locked up. That sucks. That sucks to be quarantined for 14 days. That is the reason why I'm not taking any vacations, because I don't want to be quarantined for 14 days. And it just sucks. No, Michael, I got rid of all the old videos. I did that on purpose. Once I got my channel back and wanted to start fresh, and I just got rid of them all. So that's the reason why it doesn't show up. And they weren't helping anyways. It's not, see, the thing is, it's like, especially when you're reporting news, no one wants to hear about old news, right? So what I reported a month ago, no one cares about. So that's the thing with news channels too. Old videos don't really help you grow. It's just the consistency of new videos, right? And whether or not people like them. Like for my car channel, it's different, because if I come out with a review of, say, a 2020 Camry, that'll be relevant for at least a year, right? So even though it could be like 9 months old, people are still searching for that video and it still does well. So it's a difference, right? There's a difference there. It just depends on the niche you're in. If you're covering news, no one wants to watch old news videos. But if you're covering something else that could be longer lasting, it'll tend to stay up more. You know, the reason why now, I think it makes more sense. The reason why Peter Schiff could be so bearish on I was going to say bullcoin, Bitcoin, is because of that bank of his. Because many of his clients are probably, probably invested in him and in gold and stuff because they're trying to evade taxes, right? So he can't change his tune all of a sudden and say, oh, I like Bitcoin, because they're like, what the hell? You told me to buy gold, and now you change your tune. That could be the reason why. So it's kind of making more sense now, right? But anyways, we'll see what happens. Supposedly 9 countries. It's not just the U.S. Supposedly 9 countries are working together to go after Peter Schiff's bank. They're investigating, and because supposedly he's helping citizens from 9 different countries evade their tax. It's pretty serious when 9 countries are going after you, not just one. So I don't know what's going to happen to him. So all right, guys, I think that's about it. Stream for 99 minutes. Wow, that's a lot. 100 minutes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't wish bad on Ponica. I really don't. But, he built up his recent reputation by hating Bitcoin. So it's kind of like coming in full swing, I guess, right? But yeah, I don't hate the guy. He actually seems like a very cool, intelligent guy. I actually think when he's not talking bad about Bitcoin, he actually sounds pretty good. He actually makes a lot of sense. Anyways, All right, so that's a long stream. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Bitcoin is doing its thing really well. We're not at $13, unfortunately. It would have been more exciting had it been. But it's not doing shabby. It's doing very good. T-Lock, appreciate that. I appreciate you standing up for alts too. So usually, people that really love alts or hate me talking about it, they start bashing me and stuff like that. I really appreciate that you're being objective about it. And I appreciate that super chat. But anyways, Bitcoin it's doing its thing. PayPal is a big thing. Some people say, Bitcoin's pump has nothing to do with PayPal. It could be, but I do think it does contribute to basically everything that's been going on, right? PayPal, Square, MicroStrategy, and everyone else, Grayscale. Everyone is coming in, right? And you got people that are Bitcoin bears that's talking about buying Bitcoin, right? Paul George Jones, I know this is an old story, but he always hated Bitcoin. And now he's telling everyone to buy Bitcoin because he's the fastest horse in a race, right? There was the ex-CEO of Prudential Financial, George Bell. All of a sudden, he does an interview and tells people to go buy Bitcoin, right? You got everyone that's turning into a Bitcoin bull. Right now, it's definitely Bitcoin's day. And this aligns with everything else. The halving event that just happened, right? Hash power continues to rise. Difficulty continues to rise because the miners are not giving up. They continue to mine more, right? Everything is lining up right here. And because of what's going on around the world, unfortunately due to the pandemic and what the governments are doing to prop up the economies, that's also helping Bitcoin, right? It's bringing a lot of people, it's making them aware that endless printing won't end well. It never does. Printing 1 million IOUs and handing out people, one day they're going to want to collect. It never ends well. So that's helping Bitcoin. Everything else is helping Bitcoin right now. So definitely name of the game. I, for one, is going to concentrate a lot more on Bitcoin. I want to set a schedule, buy as much Bitcoin as I can while it's still attainable. I don't care if it drops. There's always going to be people say that Bitcoin will drop. I don't care, honestly, at this point. If it drops to 6,000 tomorrow, drops to 10,000 tomorrow, I don't care. I'm setting a schedule. I'm going to accumulate as much Bitcoin as I can. I just want to accumulate as much as I can while I can. So that's my opinion. Hastings, I appreciate that. Scrape the Tesla and get the Hummer. I covered a Hummer yesterday, Hummer EV. I tried to reserve, put $100 down just to see what the hell. And their reserve page was broken. You couldn't reserve. So I don't know if they fixed that. But $112,000 is a lot of money for that Hummer EV. And if you look at a tri-motor Cybertruck, it's only $80,000 versus that $112,000. So I don't know. But it'll make good videos if I can get it. But it's just a little bit too expensive. All right, guys. Take care. Have a good night. Smash up the likes. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And I do have a very important message about XRP, so take a listen and have a good night.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.